Very pleasant good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the show, a Degenerate Friday edition of the program, as we made it all the way through another week. Unbelievable. Halfway through the month of February. February? Which way do we want to pronounce that?
It's funny. I pronounce it February. My wife, who's better diction than I do and has worked her life to speak good English because it wasn't her first language, throws the R in, which is always
February. Yeah.
It's not a hard R. Like she'll just sneak it in. I'm like, okay, I've never said it that way my entire life.
I mean, it should be that way, right? It was always February to me.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually a silent R. I just think Americans for some reason say February.
We started doing it, and that's the way it is. It's kind of like mispronouncing Tony Dorsett.
Exactly.
Jersey was Dorset. Then when he came out and said it's Dorset, we said, okay, Tony Dorsett.
Exactly. Your name's Dorset, man. It's too late.
I mean, it's not like you're calling Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay while you're in the ring.
Exactly.
Who was that? Ernie Terrell? That was one of those guys. Got the crap beat out of him as a result of that. As Ali was shouting, "What's my name? What's my name?" Unbelievable. All right, good to be with you guys. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff not going on. Which and we talked about this yesterday. I did have a score for everybody at 11-1. You would have had to have that actually because we recommended that you bet. Did I do that on this show or the gambling show? I'm not sure. I think it was this show.
You didn't recommend it. You brought it up to me, and I was like, it's just a bet I wouldn't go near either way because you have to put so much on America that it's like whatever. And then if they lose, you now lose a lot. So I said I wouldn't go near that kind of bet. You
betting the game would have been ridiculous, but and you would have lost if you had laid the odds. You had to lay 4.5 goals with the United States team to get minus 160. So the move obviously was to count on the Panther contributors to the Latvian team, which I believe was it a Panther player that had one of the goals for well, it was the only goal by Latvia in the game. They lose 5-1 Latvia to the United States. Pretty convincing slaughter type domination. U.S. had 2 goals disallowed in the first period. And Brady Tkachuk fired the first one through, so we were right about that. You were getting 11-1 on both of the Tkachuks. I said, well, just take them both. So essentially, you're getting 5.5-1, but nonetheless, your $200 wager would have got you back 1,100. And so that would have been a nice guy. That would be the one way you could have tallied in that game, albeit far-fetched, but nonetheless, I think this was the direction that you had to go in. And a dominating performance, as expected, yet it goes to show you how treacherous and how evil a gambling world can be. Because what on earth would have possessed you in a game where the over-under total was 6.5, which it goes under. So you would have had Latvia and the under was your parlay, Lubie. Could you have possibly conceived of yourself going up to the window there and saying, hey, Mo, give me Latvia and the under?
No way.
They come for you in a straitjacket at that point.
Look, I mean, they tied it up. The U.S. looked like it was going to be a rout early, and then they got a disallowed goal, and Latvia scored right away, so it was 1-1. So, I mean, they made it interesting for like 10 minutes, but like Latvia wasn't going to compete in this game. Like, I mean, think so. No, sorry. It happens in sports. You see upsets, but
that would have been monumental. That would have been bigger than the USA 1980 team beating Russia, wouldn't it? Latvia knocking. Well, it was not as.
I don't know if it would have meant as much, but it would have been pretty big. Like they're not in the same strategy. The entire U.S. team is all NHL, not only players but stars. And Latvia had 2 Panther guys. I don't even know, and we didn't even know
how many others. We don't know. We didn't go that deeply into it. Our research was a little bit short, bereft of.
Look it up. I don't think they had a ton of
real knowledge. Yeah. In 1980 Olympics, of course, Lake Placid, the classic with the U.S. beating Russia after the Russians had trounced them in a previous exhibition. I believe they played at Madison Square Garden before the Olympic hockey competition got underway in an exhibition. I think the Russians won 10-4. It was a Broderick Crawford special, 10-4 over and out. Didn't appear that the Americans had a chance, but many people forget that was not the gold medal game, Lubie. Do you believe in miracles? They still had to play another one to win the gold. They had to beat Finland, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was not the climactic game. This would have been in a preliminary round. It certainly would have been a monumental upset. Would it have been of that magnitude? I don't think it would have lasted forever indelibly.
Kind of reverberated, but
upon the sporting world. And, of course, it was all accentuated by Al Michaels writing on his cuff of his shirt, do you believe in miracles? Just in case. Do you believe in miracles? Yeah. I don't know that. Do you think that was spontaneous? I guess he'll go to his grave saying that it was. I think that was at a time. Was it in vogue then to always have to come up with some kind of signature call? I remember Joe Angel kind of struggling through that at the end of the Marlins '97 World Series win, and it became in vogue for all sportscasters to have some kind of signature call at the end of games like that. Do you believe in miracles? Of course, I don't know if it started that trend. No, it couldn't have been, right? There were many other calls like that. The Giants win a pennant. Nixon, what was it? What was it? Who was the guy? Hodges,
I'm not a
Nixon?
crook. Well, Nixon did the "I'm not a crook" or whatever. You're talking about calling
No, no,
games.
not the president. I'm talking
Literally
about
says,
the
"I'm not
baseball
a crook."
announcer. Yeah. No, when the shot heard
Yes.
around the world, the Bobby Thompson home run. What was the guy? The name of the announcer was
Wasn't it Clark? Not Clark. Buck. Wasn't Buck did
no,
one of the
no,
great calls?
well, he had the Kirk Gibson call.
Okay.
I
Jack,
can't believe what I just saw because he didn't really see it. I think
uh,
he missed the thing.
Bobby Thompson. Who is it? Oh, I'll look it up. We played it before. I'll look
Yeah.
it up. We actually had the call, but it was a legendary call. Yes, but I don't know. I mean, again, didn't Joe Angel have the win column thing? Like I thought that was his
Well,
thing.
that was his signature during the regular season, but he seemed to be staggering around trying to fish for a conclusion for that. At least in my opinion. I mean, having done this a million times myself and been in that situation, you want it to be spontaneous. And he's like, "And a young child has become king." Like, Joe, what the F are you talking about? What is that?
I mean, they were four
You
years
remember
old.
that? I don't know if you remember that
Yes,
call.
I remember the clip. What do you mean? I went to the. I didn't get to go to any of the games that year, but we went to they had a celebration inside. It was, I think, Joe Robbie, still a pro player at that point, but they sold it out for a celebration. I remember them playing the videos, Levon losing his mind, and then the Joe Angel call.
Russ Hodges, yeah, was the guy. And he's all over that. Russ Hodges. Where did I come up with Nixon? Like Norm Nixon all of a sudden was
I
hitting
don't
the
know.
jumper from the outside. All right, so that was part of the fun. Chloe Kim was going for a third consecutive Olympic gold medal. So you're talking about spanning 12 years. Third gold medal in the half pipe, which is kind of fun. I don't know. Could you ever conceive of doing that? Not a lot of Jews in the half pipe either.
No,
Why am I
that's
picking
the
on the
thing.
Jews
Like,
as a Winter Olympic entity? Because
I
I am Jewish and I can't do any of this stuff.
I feel like you don't see. I mean, it's fine. There are athletic Jews, but I feel like you don't see many Jews. Like I don't hear a lot of names that I'm aware of from our tribe in this time of the year. Now, the Summer Olympics, maybe you get more. I don't know, but
Summer Olympics were okay. We can play basketball.
I
We can do a
feel
lot of
like Winter Olympics, it's rare that, like, again, the countries that do well in this are countries we don't usually live in. The Nordic countries are not really. I don't know if they let us in or not. And I'm not saying I don't know their backgrounds, but I don't. It's not a place that many Jews were at. I don't know the cold. I don't know what it was, but the Jews didn't flock to Finland, Sweden, Norway. Like you don't see a lot of Jews there. That's
no,
just
no.
Minnesota is not
Very
really known for
tasty
Jewish
looking.
population. Washington State, like
Well,
Montana.
those Nordic people do migrate to Minnesota. There's
Yes,
a lot of
it's like a
Swedes,
direct thing.
Indian people in Minnesota, right? Well, it's right there in their wheelhouse. That's for sure. So,
Yes.
what did we get out of the Winter Olympics yesterday? Anything, Libby, to do? Watch any
Well, that
action?
Kim failed, right? Kim didn't uphold
She
her.
she ended up with a silver medal. She fell twice on the second two runs. Somebody beat her by a couple of points. Korean woman, I believe, and a young girl actually, and they seem to be very close. So I kind of dig the spirit. I mean, people obviously devastated. You lose the Olympics. You've been building up for this your whole life. The gold medal probably is one of the few ways to a lot of silver and bronze medalists rise as commercial entities. Not
It's really
usually,
hard.
right?
No, it's
Unless
hard.
there was a big time story attached to it.
Bingo. It's
If you
really
win a
hard.
gold medal, though, you can capitalize. No,
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. The Wheaties boxes back in the day, which I don't think that's a thing anymore. That's yes, you gold, you a bunch of golds. If you win two golds and a silver, like do the Phelps kind of a thing, though you
yeah,
Usain Bolt kind of a thing. But yes, just winning a silver or a bronze, most of the time, sadly, people don't remember who you are.
amazing, huh? We give no credit for finishing second, no
Yeah, it
credit
sucks.
for finishing third.
Yep.
It's win or you suck. That's pretty much it, right?
It really is.
So
I
if
know you
people
said
are down on the Patriots all of a sudden. Oh well, that was a fluke. They had the weak schedule. All this. They finished second in the NFL out of 32 teams. Not too
look,
bad.
and as someone who was in that going, ha ha ha, I also remind myself I would dance for joy if the name Miami Dolphins and Super Bowl were in the same sentence. I've never seen. I was two. Like I've literally never like been a fan watching them in. Again, they did host the AFC Championship game to a Chargers team with Stan Humphries at quarterback, and they were going to host the Super Bowl, so they could have done what the Canes just did, and they lost to freaking Stan Humphries. Like now, again, it was more Junior Seau, and I might have been Rodney Harrison at that point, but still, I remember that very disappointingly. So yes, the Patriots. There's a lot of negatives, but even I have to say, look, they got there. My team really can't. Like
I haven't even won a playoff game since what, 2000? Is it go back?
Bengals have made a Super Bowl. The Cardinals have made a Super Bowl, and the Rams have won multiple Super Bowls.
A lot of schmicky teams.
And the Dolphins can't even sniff one.
And it doesn't seem like we're in that conversation going into 2026. I mean, do you have look? We were looking at the odds to win the AFC East. They were 28-1. AFC East. That's beating 3 other teams in the regular season
that have issues. The Bills have a new coach. Their offense has issues. The Jets are
Jets. Are horrible. I don't know what the Jets have done.
And the Pats definitely have holes on offense, and you could say they were exposed, quote unquote, by the Seahawks and all these defensive teams. Drake May's really good, but he has deficiencies. Like he clams up against good defense. Yes, it's not an automatic. It's a division where any team could and should have a shot, and the Dolphins have 0 shot.
0, and it's 0.0 because it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. Is George doing a Pam Bondi on us here on the chat line? As we're talking about the Olympics, and he's talking about the Dow Jones hitting 50,000. So we should ignore the testimony.
Yes,
the pedophiles, even though the girls are, ladies who are victimized are sitting right there in the back of the courtroom.
Yes, he's 100% doing. Yes, that's what he's doing. So it's funny. Yesterday he went under 50,000. So all these Congress people were like, "So can we talk about it now, Pam?"
That was incredible.
It was just random. It was like, you want to pivot, fine. And I get it. She has no successes, so she can't pivot to her own world. But find something, like do the ICE thing. Well, see, we've nabbed all these people. It was just weird. Like, why are you talking about something that was also a success under Biden? So it's not even like it's new that it's a success under you guys.
Trying to bring up the box office success of the Melania movie.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of talk about that. Many people are recommending that you go out and see that. All right, so the NBA now has come to the All-Star game. The All-Star game used to be something that I would find compelling to watch.
I watched it every year.
These guys, I didn't mind the token defense because I spent a good portion of my life playing token defense and playing against token defense. Especially later on in life when I used to, Jersey Kyle and I used to go to LA Fitness one-on-one. And we never got into any other games. Neither of us had any game left. Although I think Jersey had a shot at one time, and I know I did in terms of being able to hoist them from a long range and make a high percentage of shots from the outside. But we right away, the first thing we called was token defense. So it's not like that offends me to watch games that involve token defense. In fact, I don't know. I mean, there's certain players you accuse Tyler Hero of playing token defense.
I'm not me accusing.
Is he playing token defense, or is he just a lousy defensive player?
People say that it's not even that, because again, Nash, there's a lot of great players. Steph Curry doesn't play great defense. It's the problem with Hero is and I had never heard of this term until the last few years, but it's prevalent. Like they're hunting him, and I don't even know. Like offensively, like I could see you looking for your shot, or defensively you're hunting, like when they went after Jordan or whatever. I never knew what that meant, and they're like, no, he's so bad defensively that they find whoever he's covering, they give them the ball and get out of the way. Like, and then you would watch the whole series. If you watch that Cavs series, it was like, oh, they are hunting.
That's what they're doing. Very nice. And he's right. We should have brought up the Pentangeli testimony. They said Don Corleone did this.
I mean, I can.
Michael Corleone did that.
I can play it. It's very fitting.
I said, yeah, sure.
No, but see, he was calm. Like that's the thing. That's what was weird about her. Well, she like started yelling. It's like, lady. So not only you're saying stuff that makes zero sense. Like even Trump's like, what the hell are you talking about? But on top of that, you're yelling it. Like I learned that young. Once you start yelling, they tune you out. Like no one, you could say the most brilliant thing ever. If you start yelling it, they think you're a raving lunatic. Like you get no credit.
Yeah, Gus Johnson.
Exactly.
She could have been a sportscaster. She could have been doing like a Knicks game. Would have been
Yeah,
great. All right, we did have some NBA action last night. Milwaukee surging a little bit. I think they've won 5 of their last 6. Is that
of
right,
course they have.
Lubie?
I'm
Surging
not
a
mad
little
at it.
bit.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Like, it makes
To beat
sense.
OKC. OKC didn't have Gilgis Alexander. So OKC goes down 110-93. Is that true? Did I get that right? OKC, did they only lose? They lost more than 14 games last year, didn't they? Did they only lose 14 in the regular season? They've already lost 14 this year.
Well, they definitely had a really strong record last year. I don't know where
They
they
threaten the record.
weren't threatening. No, I don't remember at all at any
I
point
don't
last year.
remember. Yeah.
People talk about that because when their teams are doing that, they usually talk about it all year long. Like
I'm not
I don't
sure.
remember them doing that.
I glanced at a lot of stuff. I'm not sure where I picked that up, but it seemed like I picked it up the same place I had Russ Nixon, who was a catcher, I believe, with the Reds.
There you go.
Right.
You're talking about the old outfielder for the Boston Red Sox.
Unbelievable. All right, so OKC not quite as good. You keep saying that the overwhelming power is in the West, Libby. This is your implication about the
Yeah,
NBA.
okay, so that's interesting. So they must have gotten a lot of losses. Yeah, it says that they were 68 and 14.
How about that?
I mean,
How about
that is
that,
close.
Lee? How about that? I sound like Russo.
Yeah,
Right?
Russo, yeah.
How about that, Mikey? All right, so you're looking at the top 3 teams in both conferences. OKC, San Antonio, and Denver. OKC now has 14 losses, the same total that they had all of last year. San Antonio looks like they're coming on at, I don't know if this is the right time quite yet, but they do seem to be coming into their own and maybe even a threat to OKC to win the West. Is that possible?
Like they just dominate OKC every time they play.
Yep. They're head to head. They beat OKC. I think what is it? 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 3 out of 4.
Denver, when they have their lineup intact, hell of a team, right? What's going on with Gordon? Is he still out? Denver Nuggets, they've been compromised all year. Jokic was out for a period of time. They're right there banging on the door. So those are your top 3 teams in the West.
Yeah.
Do they lay over Detroit, Boston, and the New York Knicks? That's a good question, Libby.
Detroit is.
They're actually, with their record, they would be, I think, a half a game behind OKC, even though they have 1 less loss. They're 40 and 13.
Look, Detroit is the team that has a lot of young talent, a lot of athleticism. They can play defense from the 1 through the 5. They're okay from 3, but they're really good in the interior, and they play very physical, and they're very skilled, and they've actually been well coached. The problem for Detroit is what people are going to do with OKC from 2 years ago. Like, they are young, and they did have the 4-way last year, and they did push a Knicks team that was very veteran laden,
and they got hosed by the officials, and
they got screwed a lot in that series. Yeah, so it's like now they are the 1 seed. Now they have that experience. So Detroit's an interesting question because they have the kind of talent that can, and the length, and they have all the depth. They're very deep too, which a lot of the teams in the East aren't. Like that can hang with a Nuggets, that can hang with the Thunder or the Spurs, or I think the Rockets are right there too. Like remember, the Rockets were really good in the playoffs last year. They fell short in that first round because they played a very veteran, angry Warriors team, but they were in that series, and then they added Durant, and Durant's been Durant. So to me, like the Rockets are very interesting, and I put them like 1A to those 3 teams. Like Detroit to me is the one team in the East that has enough that can hang with the teams in the West. I just don't know if they're veteran enough. I don't know if they're savvy enough to like in a late game 6, late game 7, because that's what happened, right? Like Cade Cunningham struggled in the 4th quarters, like that whole series versus the Knicks. He's grown another step, so like hopefully you would think he'd learn from that, but you haven't seen it. You've seen it from the Nuggets, you've seen it from the Thunder, and you've seen it from Wemby. Like Wemby, like is there anyone else who's even in the like MVP running? Like the way the guys played, it's ridiculous to me. Like, and again,
you got to figure SGA's a candidate for.
I guess. I mean, I know guys are averaging 30 something, like Luka. If the Lakers, I guess, get into like a top.
I don't think Luka's going to win MVP just by winning the scoring title, though. Do you?
Yeah. No, probably not.
Yeah, I think it'll go to somebody that's actually with a team with a better record, which could be either Wembanyama or SGA. I don't know. Is Cade Cunningham even getting consideration for MVP? Jaylen Brown?
People forget they're even there.
The Celtics, the way they're playing, unbelievable. Brunson, I don't think will ever get MVP, and certainly not if you have a vote. And he's the Knicks' leading player. I don't know that the Knicks. for some reason, I find myself, I guess it's because of our affiliation and association over the many years that we've been doing these broadcasts with Grant Long,
Yeah.
that I find myself rooting for Detroit
Oh
to
yeah.
finally like shake out of this. I was a fan of the Bad Boy Pistons, as a lot of people were, even though I was never a big fan of cheap shot artists, and they probably went 10 deep in cheap shot artists back then. No, but you like to see a change in the guard. It was the Celtics and the Lakers and the Celtics. So finally, the Pistons got their shot. They got in there. I liked a lot of their players that were on that bad boy team, especially the microwave Vinny Johnson, one of my all-time favorites. I love a guy who comes off the bench, starts firing right away, and hits and makes a big difference in the game. I don't know. Were you an Isaiah Thomas fan as a player later on?
I was young when he was great.
Yeah.
But I probably would have been because he was a smaller dude who didn't care. He played really physical and really got after it. And that's sort of like the way I modeled my game after. He did like to pass. He was leader guy. Like, yeah, when I got older looking at it, it's like Magic, right? Like Magic's my favorite player ever outside of D Wade. I really didn't watch a lot of like when I started watching NBA, Magic was already getting into the HIV stuff. But looking at, highlights in his career, I just really liked his game and like how he revolutionized the game of basketball, much like Jordan with his athleticism. Like Isaiah Thomas being a shorter guy that helped guide a really physical team of, I guess, misfits is what people consider that Pistons team. I always thought was really impressive. I think I feel like he gets forgotten a lot because like there's a lot of great point guards. Zeke to me is right in that group of like top 5 to 10 point guards ever.
Oh yeah, great. That documentary Hoop Dreams, which was very well put together. What was interesting as they had the high school coach of Isaiah. I forget the name of the high school now that they went to, but and one of the kids that was being featured was at that same high school, and the coach couldn't have been any more like the coach was to Robbie Benson in One on One. This poor kid that was the subject of the Hoop Dreams documentary, and unfortunately, he was always being compared to Isaiah Thomas, who played for this guy. And I would have to say the coach was a bit of a hard on. He was a hard guy to like. That's for sure. What was his high school that he was coaching? Like a famous high school program, and the guy couldn't have been any more Nurse Ratched-esque.
Isaiah Thomas ones.
Isaiah went there, and then I forget the name of the kid that was part of the Hoop Dreams thing. There were 2 guys that they zeroed in on. One guy ended up going to Marquette, and the other guy ended up going to JUCO. And he was a bit of a wild card, and the kid just never lived up to his potential, and eventually he sort of lost his affection for the game of basketball because of the hard-on treatment that he got from this
St. Joseph. They're saying St. Joseph, Westchester, Illinois.
Could be. I don't know. Whatever it was, they were like a leading high school program in the Midwest, and this coach was one of those legendary high school coaches. But wow, I mean, if you watch that documentary, you couldn't help but think, what a pompous ass this guy is. Is he trying to get the best out of the kids? Is that the only way, Lubie, is to be just? I don't think you could coach kids that way anymore, can you? I don't know that they have enough respect for a coach.
No, these kids, no. Ask Ken. I mean, Ken's in the way. I'll bring Ken. Ken's coached youth basketball, and it's not like he's a grouch, but like, and again,
Ken would put up a lot of crap.
Ask for gassers or anything, but like, these kids don't really. I don't know if I've ever been tough with the kids, but I wouldn't even think to. Like, it's like they're like 10 to 12, and they're still learning how to dribble. So it's like, to me, it's hard to be tough on them when like it's such a different era of like where I was playing sports by 5 and 6. These kids are like just getting into it at 10 to 13. So it's hard to be really tough on them. I don't even know how they would react. I think they would laugh at you. Like, these kids don't care.
Should we bring a coach on?
These kids do not. These kids are very different.
There he is.
Yeah.
Wow. How are you with these kids, Professor? I can't imagine you put up with a lot of nonsense.
I used a whistle, and parents
used a whistle.
Freaked out about the fact that I was blowing a whistle. And then when we did flag football, one of the parents asked me where I got the whistle, and I said it was my dog training whistle because, the portraits where I had the whistles from, and they lost their effing mind about the fact that I was using a dog training whistle. It's just a whistle. It's not like some special whistle.
Exactly.
It's a whistle.
We need to
like if I have whistles, I'm not going to go buy new whistles to. But what I said, it's my dog training whistle because I got a leather, like whistle thing from the dogs.
Right.
They lost their effing mind about that, man. It was
It strikes me out, but how did you get involved in this, Professor? I mean, not
the
having
lovely Gia's nephew was playing all sorts of local sports in Pompano, and Rick, her brother, was coaching, and he didn't know anything about football. So
this helps, yeah.
Then
they,
basketball, then
they
So,
were
soccer.
like,
so did he become a Dolphin assistant, high assistant after that?
no. Well, he's still like 10, dude. He's.
Oh, I don't mean the kid. I
Oh,
mean,
Rick, no,
coach,
no.
you
Well,
didn't
yeah,
know?
I mean, yeah, he might be. I mean,
You
under
never know.
Philbin, it was
Stephen
certainly
Ross,
possible.
scouting.
I mean, since we were bringing in like legitimately good coaches under Philbin and then firing them 6 weeks later.
Yes,
Ben,
exactly.
Ben
That's
Johnson's no
the
good. He
greatest staff
sucks. Let's
ever.
get rid of him.
That's like the greatest staff
Good
ever.
move, Dolphins.
They're all Zach
By the way,
Taylor.
can I say how happy I am to be here this week? Because I really thought during Lindsey Vaughn Appreciation and Propaganda Week I was going to be banned.
Oh no, we don't mind. I mean, you know what's interesting? I mean, look, the fact that their Mayo man actually agreed with was going to write something about them. I just see it totally differently. You're always obviously coming up with good stuff and different points of view. I didn't see. I mean, when I saw her dangling from that, I mean, dangerous. Was it a smart move? Probably. I mean, obviously not. She still claims that the knee had nothing to do.
Yeah, I love that. It
deal,
had nothing to do with
nothing
it.
to do with
Did show me the other time in your race you crashed into the first gate 5
But,
feet.
that's been going on though. I mean, I was watching a little of this yesterday, and the last 4 or 5 competitors, almost each one had the same problem, where they clipped the gate with their arm, and
Well, clearly they didn't have the same problem because they haven't been
Almost
helicoptered
died,
off
yeah.
the mountain.
but they're they were lucky to survive it, but nonetheless. I just don't think that could be a vanity thing. I saw her in that like canvas coffin that they put you in as they're carting you off the track there, and then think about it, Professor. It can't be an easy thing to be dangling from a cable from a helicopter that's flying around in a mountain range.
I don't think anybody told her or she thought I'm going to crash 10 feet into the race and snap my leg into teeny tiny pieces. Like,
But she
I
she's
think if
she's
she
kind
knew
of
that
injuries
was going to
before.
happen, she wouldn't do it. I just think, again, as I've said, the Olympics are a different thing than the World Cup or anything else. And again, it's supposed to be about your country. And I think in that case, you do what gives your country the best chance. I mean, in this case, look, let's be honest. The other American girl won the gold medal, so we took the gold medal. Would it have been nice to have a silver or bronze to go along with it? Sure, but at the end of the day, is it the biggest deal in the world? Not really. But I think in
Well,
that
she
case,
had done practice runs though. I mean, and I guess it was more than one. She had done, I think, 3 practice runs,
okay,
and had the third fastest time of
and
anybody
this is
on
where
the
I
practice.
will claim ignorance on competitive downhill skiing.
Okay.
I don't know if the practice run is like legitimately a replication of what you're going to ski, or if it's like NASCAR and Formula One, where you just go out and run laps by yourself, and getting pole position really has nothing to do with how good you're going to drive in the race. So I don't know if the practice run means anything or not. Maybe it does, in which case, okay,
It means
give
you're
it a
functioning
shot.
enough to, and what is supposed to at least replicate at some level what it is you're going to experience.
That part I don't know, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the youth coaching thing, Lubie's right. It's just a totally different age, and like, the concepts that we grew up with playing. And look, like pretty much every football coach I had growing up thought he was Vince Lombardi. Like, you were getting into the cage and hitting, and like, if you got hurt, it would be like rub some dirt on it and go get back into practice, kid. Like, every coach I had in that was like, the way too serious and ruin the fun for it for the guys who, weren't going to be serious
When
athletes.
your parents
Guy.
wasn't making mild either. Like your dad was a dude that was like, yeah, that's
No, well, my dad coached other teams because he didn't want to coach me, but he was just as big a, that guy to all the kids that he coached. Like, again, that was just the way youth sports were handled in the day. Now it's a completely different thing. And honestly, I'm not sure if it's better or worse. My experience with youth sports is that the one thing that's different now is that like the dominant kids are more dominant than they used to be. And I think that probably has something to do with the softer approach because the the other kids who aren't great natural athletes don't compete as hard because they're not pushed as hard in practice. This is strictly my opinion. So again, I think that the more dominant kids are more dominant than they ever were. But it wasn't like we didn't have stars back when we were. I mean, I played Little League with a kid who played Major League Baseball for about 10 years.
Well, Steins, right?
Yeah, Chris Steins in Boca.
Wow. Nice.
And if you had, when we were all 12 years old playing Little League, told somebody, one of these kids is going to play 10 years in the bigs, everybody in the league would have picked Chris Steins. It was like really obvious, even when we were 12 years old, who the kid with Major League talent was. So it wasn't like those kids weren't dominant back in the day, but I also played youth football with a lot of kids who ended up playing D1, and a couple used to play NFL, and it was a lot more competitive. We played against Kevin McDougal at Pompano, who was Notre Dame's starting quarterback for a couple of years, and he was the best player on the field, but it wasn't like he just ran around and did whatever he wanted.
Yeah. I remember I had to stay away from it. I had Jesse in his first T-ball game. I forget what age that would have been. How old are you when you played T-ball?
3, 4, 5.
5, maybe
6. Maybe.
I got probably up to 7 or 8, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to say he was older, but
He could be 6 or 7.
yeah. So it's his first organized sport. I go out to watch him play his first game. Wasn't in the starting lineup, which already pissed me off, and I realized I was becoming a Little League parent. Very people that I despised as a kid. And felt sorry for their offspring. When you would see these parents just going nuts, and it was far less prevalent and less violent when I was growing up then.
See, I gotta admit, I hated Little League parents because I was like a good 40 years ahead of my time when I played Little League. Because when I went up there, I was a master of pitch count and efficiency. I went up there looking to never swing the bat. I was up there figuring there was no way a kid could throw 3 strikes in 7 pitches, and I was looking for the walk.
He's looking for the walk.
Again,
just lay one
I
in
was way ahead of I was Kevin Euclid before Kevin Euclid was born, and I got no credit for it. All the parents, swing the bat, you jerk.
You loser. Yeah.
He's looking for a walk. I was like, look, this is the way baseball's going to be in 40 years. You people just don't realize it yet. Yeah. I'm playing Moneyball before Bill James has ever written his first book.
It's not like Lee Wire.
People are giving me crap about it.
Yeah. They would. The umpires, though, would eventually take exception, and if you never swung,
they did, and
again, strikes on anything.
Calling strikes 5 feet above your head because they didn't understand that this is the future of baseball.
It's a great strategy. It's a great strategy.
I have plate discipline, and I am wearing out this pitcher on pitch count long before people thought about that.
Did you ever foul a ball off or anything? You just never swung?
Oh, no. I would swing once in a great while if one was completely.
It was a great pitch. Yeah, it was a great pitch.
But, again,
I was laying over the middle, knowing that
I was basically up there, Barry Bonds before my time, looking for a walk.
All right, let's look for some action here. We're getting some college basketball.
Oh, boy, we had a rough one on the show last Friday as we gave out UConn. And I don't play this card, but good Lord, did the referees stick it straight up inside of us in that game between St. John's and UConn last Friday.
I don't know.
That was the most disgusting officiated game I have seen in a long time. I felt bad about that one as we were on UConn. And the final free throw count was 31-12. Like UConn shot 58% from the field and lost by 9. That's how bad the refs were.
Tino was playing a very clean game all the way through. He kept telling his guys in the huddle, look, don't foul. Whatever you do, don't foul.
That looked like that.
Out of his head there. It was crazy.
Yeah, that looked like one that Ring got involved in somehow.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts. All right. What are you looking at, Professor? As we had, does my mic sound weird?
Yes, it does. Very fuzzy.
That's right. I would turn off the board and turn it back on.
Yeah, I may have to drop out here for a second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. We'll talk about a few games while you do that.
Yeah, kind of give some plays.
Honestly, it's a weird thing because we had the off week for the Super Bowl, and college basketball had a terrible schedule that weekend. And I was bitches like they missed an opportunity. Well, now we've got the NBA All-Star game, which nobody wants to watch, And once again, we got a very weak slate of college basketball. But we do have a few plays here. We'll start tonight, and that is the Ohio Bobcats going to Miami of Ohio, catching 10.5. Miami of Ohio, of course, the undefeated team left over. But have you been watching them? They've been going to the wire every game as of late, although they did smack up Marshall. I actually like Ohio to keep this one close. It is a big historical rivalry here. I think 10.5 is too much for a Miami of Ohio team that's gotten very sloppy at the end of games, particularly when they've been up going into the last couple minutes. So I'm willing to take the 10 and a hook and the Ohio Bobcats tonight. And that takes us into tomorrow. Again, we're not looking at the strongest slate of games, but we do have a couple here. Number one, Kansas Jayhawks seem to have really gotten into a roll. Beat Arizona without Darren Peterson the other night. Peterson sat out with the flu. He's expected to be back, and they're catching 5.5 on the road from Iowa State. Now, Ames, Iowa is not an easy place to play, and Iowa State is good, but I don't think you can ignore the role Kansas is on right now. So, like Kansas plus the 5 and a hook headed in tomorrow, particularly if Peterson plays. The tough one, and I hate it for so many reasons, is the Florida-Kentucky matchup because Kentucky's playing pretty well. But Florida is an absolute buzzsaw right now. And if you go into Ken Palm ratings, they're already in top 10, both offense and defense again. And they're flirting with being top 5 offense and defense again. So despite a very slow start, the Florida Gators are in the argument for best team in the country right now, the way they're playing. I don't know about laying an 11.5, but I know I've talked to a few people who are instantly trying to take the points on that one because Kentucky's playing well. I would not mess with the Florida Gators right now. So caution on that game. Just watch out. Don't naturally influx into Kentucky money just because you're catching a bunch of points there. Gators could easily run away with that one like they did in Georgia the other night. Georgia, a very good home team. The Gators went in there and won by 20. 6:30 game, Arizona and Texas Tech. Arizona coming off that loss to Kansas on Monday night. Really, if you look at Arizona, they had been flirting with that first loss for a while. Got played close 2 or 3 games in a row, blew a big lead against BYU, let Arizona State hang around into the last 2 minutes, and Arizona State's not good. Now they play Texas Tech, who's trying to round their way into tournament shape after an week there with the losses to UCF and Kansas, but they did play Kansas close in Fieldhouse, something they almost never do. I would be inclined to take Texas Tech plus the 9.5, particularly since you might get a little bit of a bounce there and get over 10. I'm looking at Texas Tech. And then the best one I think of the day, a lot of people are down on Gonzaga because they took that bad loss the other day. And again, they've only lost twice on the season. I think people are freaking out because they lost to Portland, who's not a good team. I guess about 10 days ago at this point. Only laying 3.5 to Santa Clara. Santa Clara is 22-5, but if you look at their schedule, they have really beaten nobody on the year. So I think it's a very low number. That would definitely be the one I'm attracted to. So what do we like? We like Ohio tonight plus the 10 and a hook. We like Gonzaga a lot minus the 3.5, and we like Texas Tech currently plus 9.5. And we're just cautioning you that Kentucky-Florida game reeks of a trap. People are saying 11.5 points, way too many to give to Kentucky. That game reeks of a trap to me. Stay away from Kentucky in that spot because Florida is an absolute buzzsaw right at the moment.
Very nice. And also a fan of Kansas plus 5.5 over Iowa.
Oh, and Kansas, yes.
They're rolling.
Yeah.
Particularly, look, and I would say that's when you might want to get it today if it's available to you, because when the news comes out that Peterson's playing, which it seems from everything I've read, inevitably he will, I imagine that number will drop, and it might drop 2 or 3 points.
Very good. Outstanding. All right. Does this thing sound okay now? Or?
It does. You just need to reset the board.
Very good. All right. And speaking of boards, are we going
to that already? We're going early? Okay.
I wanted to ask you something, actually, since you brought up Drew Peterson. And we keep talking about NIL and ways it gets wrangled in and ways teams do this and that. Has he really missed 11 games already?
Yes. He rolled an ankle, and it turned into a high ankle sprain early. He missed like 6 or 7 games in a row. And this is now, again, maybe not the strongest immune system in the world. The other night, Monday night, was the second game he had missed with illness. So,
do you think schools start getting weird about that, like trying to enforce this and that with
I think if they got a guy who's doing load management at the college level, probably. But if a guy rolls has a high ankle in basketball,
No, I'm talking about payment wise. Like they're paying these kids a lot of money, especially a kid like Peterson who's going to be a top 3 pick. Like people, I was reading a lot of people saying that these schools could
they
start
want a
like trying to
refund.
get money back, trying to, yeah. Like, do you think this? Because I'm like, I don't know how that would even work.
I mean, I would think honestly, if you're a school that gets a reputation for that, then top guys are not going to play for you because everybody knows, it doesn't really matter the sport. I mean, look, when Zion at Duke missed like 10 games because his sneakers couldn't handle his explosiveness.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
whose fault is that? Is that Zion's fault or is that Duke's fault for,
Yeah, that contract.
having crappy team sneakers? Like, honestly,
Yeah,
I don't know. No, I don't see how you could really do that within the world of sports, particularly football, where guys get hurt all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, that seems kind of unimaginable to me. Particularly for a top guy like that, because let's be honest, he could go anywhere in the country and collect that check. And probably, honestly, if he went to a small school, they might give him even more. So, I mean, my guess is Kansas was not his highest offer because you think somebody would have thrown the entire kitchen sink at him.
Where do you weigh in on this? This is kind of an aside, but I thought it was in your wheelhouse, Professor, because I'm assuming that you're not a giant fan of Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend of Bill Belichick. And yet we know how you despise the Patriots.
We can't talk about this. It's part of the big board.
Oh, okay.
So let's get to the big board then. Screw it.
And then that's a perfect segue into the big board. Because as soon as I saw that, I said, the professor really needs to get some kind of opportunity to comment on this. All right, so we have the big board of Super Bowl suck. Oh, I always love that.
It's our favorite, yeah.
Our annual post-Super Bowl big board. We're here to tell you about the Super Bowl and why it sucked.
All right.
And honestly, this time around, it's not really that difficult. Like, pretty much everybody's consensus was that this Super Bowl was absolute trash.
Yeah.
As a Patriot hater, I kind of loved it, to be honest with you. But, the general consensus is that this was not a fun one on any level for anybody except Puerto Ricans. So let's go to that and start with number 5. And number 5 is a personal bugaboo of mine because the halftime show is more leaked than, Julian Assange videos on the internet at this point. I don't really give a damn about the halftime show and the halftime show bets, and I've gotten leaks 3 different times about this because apparently they rehearsed this. And, and this one in particular, you got to think someone's going to be like, yeah, they've got me inside a tree. I'm going to run inside a plant into the stadium. Like, I don't think you could keep that secret, but apparently you can because number 5 is not only no nipples, but, like, not even a hint of nipples. Like, the dude came out in a goddamn suit and tie with a sweatshirt over and then put a jacket on. Like, you would think sometime during rehearsal, somebody would say, like, no, he's wearing formal wear. There's going to be no nipples involved in this whatsoever. So that we all could have made a score. Because, like, the no on the nipples was plus 300. We could have gotten 3-1 on the no
Was
nipples.
it really plus 300?
Yeah, nipples was minus 450. It was plus 300 for no nipples.
I thought he was going to have nipple, yeah.
Like, honestly, we no, and I don't even know what the no Elmer Fudd had, but
He never did his hat, yes.
like the dude never wore a hat. He came out in formal wear. Like he's got a white on white shirt and tie over a football jersey that's 4 sizes too big for him. Like, and he's wearing the touchy gloves. Like,
yes.
there wasn't even a hint of a nipple in any of this, and we couldn't get a practice. Honestly, the only thing I really learned from this halftime show is that women in my age range still love Ricky Martin, no matter how old and how gay he gets.
That seems to be a universal.
Ricky Martin is now in his mid-50s, and he looks like he's mid-50s. Doesn't look like he's getting plastic surgery every day. He looks like he's aging. He's like George Michael level gay and has been very public about it. And still, every woman from like 30 to 60 freaked the hell out when Ricky Martin showed up during this show.
There was like 5 or 6 women where I was, and they all were like, "Oh my God, Ricky!" I was like, "Ricky who?" Rubio? I'm like, what Ricky are you talking about? I'm Ricky Martin?
And let's be honest, his music was terrible
Yeah.
back when he was popular. It seems like now he's singing love ballads, or so maybe it's good now. But like "Living La Vida Loca," those were terrible songs. Like there's nothing good about Ricky Martin's pop career. But women, man, love them some Ricky Martin. And then the other side is that old white men just love to complain. Is really what we learned during this Super Bowl. And let's be honest, because I'm an old white man. Like, and if you're Gen X, you don't like what pop culture has become. I don't blame you. I don't really like what pop culture has become, but a few things. Number one,
Not for you.
like all these people complaining about classic rock and roll. What is classic rock and roll in the point? Because like when I grew up, classic rock and roll meant like dudes from the 70s, maybe the early 80s. Well, guess what? All those guys are dead or retired now. Like you can't bring those guys back because they'll be in wheelchairs and walkers and need to take their diabetes medicine during the middle of the show. And if you're calling like guys we grew up with classic rock, not like I don't want to see REM perform the freaking Super Bowl. It would be sad. And let's be honest, a lot of that music isn't great. I mean, like supposedly Pearl Jam won't even play their hits in concerts. So that you go and you find out that Pearl Jam only plays from the 3 albums nobody ever bought after you paid $2,000 for tickets. Like
Exactly.
and number two, let's be honest, our pop culture wasn't that great to begin with. You want me to provide proof? Go watch Friends on streaming. That is the worst goddamn show anybody has ever made. And we loved it for a decade straight. It was number one. Like, and go back and watch that show. Really, it's not funny at all. And upon reflection, the people weren't really that attractive. Like they were.
Aniston was the most solid. Yeah.
But they were not spectacular compared to what we see today. So stop living in the past, pop culture wise. Embrace that the Super Bowl is now going to be people who you don't like, and stop bitching about it. Like, and this is the main one for me. Okay, you could tell me whatever reason. Tell me you don't like hearing Spanish in public. Okay, that's fine. Like, I don't agree with you, but I'm biased. I'm from South Florida. We stopped listening to and caring about that 30 years ago.
Yeah, like 3
Still
decades.
upsets you, whatever. I don't care. I'm not trying to fight with you about it. If it's a political thing, again, if you loved Charlie Kirk so much that you wanted to watch his halftime show, okay. But the one argument I will not accept that I keep hearing from people, and there's a gambling influencer from down here who's like the worst person in the world who actually showed up in like 10 days. She was apparently on the first page of the New York Post sports section over this, who was like, "Oh, I just love Kid Rock." No, you don't. Nobody loves Kid Rock. Nobody likes Kid Rock music. And I have 2 ways to prove it. Number one, Kid Rock album sales for the last 25 years. And number two, because at the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party,
they were showing the other one.
Bad Bunny on the TV.
Yeah, they were showing the other one.
Graham actually tweeted that at the Trump Super Bowl party at Mar-a-Lago, they watched Bad Bunny.
Yeah, that's what they were watching.
So even the people at Mar-a-Lago don't like Kid Rock. Nobody likes Kid Rock.
All right, that's number 5.
Well, again, Defo and I were talking about it. When was the last time you heard Kid Rock was doing concerts? A decade, 15 years ago? Like, what are they talking about? Like, get away.
Number 4.
Yeah, that was 5.
Let's go to number 4, which was the New England Patriots offense. Like, honestly, going back to the youth sports discussion that kicked off, this looked like the little kids game where like the good 10-year-old team that's stacked in every youth league in America was playing one of the scrubby teams. Like, honestly, I don't know if they showed up, but I don't know if Seattle needed linebackers or defensive backs for this. Like, I honestly kind of think they could have played 11-on-5 with the Seattle defensive line. And the Patriots still would have only scored like 17. Like, most pathetic offensive showing ever. I mean, you could say we did say the Patriots offense wasn't good at any point during the playoffs, but man, this one was bad. Like, this one was, I'm not trying to say this, Patriots fans, but this was 1985 Bears in the 1986 Super Bowl bad. Like, this was, remember, in the 1986 Super Bowl, you had a young quarterback named Tony Eason, and the Super Bowl destroyed him for the rest of his career. Like, I'm not saying you should doubt Drake May automatically, but like it's got to be somewhere in the back of your minds after this game, doesn't it? Like, and I know he got hit like he was a car brother during the course of this game. But even with that, he was awful. Like, I mean, missing simple throws. That first interception he threw, I don't know to this day who the hell he was throwing that football to, because it looked like he's like, oh, there's the free safety. I'm just going to throw it to him rather than get hit again. I mean, I don't remember every Super Bowl, so I can't go back to like the Ice Bowl.
There's been bad offenses, yeah, but this was up there.
But this struck me. Could this have been the worst offensive showing of all time?
I mean,
Like,
this was up there.
It was among them. It was a candidate, no doubt about it.
He was up there.
Yeah.
And you certainly have to be wondering about your offensive line. I mean, Will Campbell.
What was that Bears Colts game that was in Miami?
Yeah, that was both offenses were with the rain, like no one could get.
Yeah,
anything.
but again, that was played in like a deluge. That's the famous Prince Super Bowl one where came out and sang "Purple Rain" in the middle of a monsoon. And yes, okay, but if that's your point of comparison, then Drake May is Rex Grossman, and that doesn't sound
He was bad. He had the occasional opportunity where, I mean, I remember one play specifically where I believe it was a tight end is wide open.
Yeah, he had Hunter Henry by himself.
And he missed him by a mile. I mean, it wasn't even close. And you thought, wow, they're still within a fluke play or even one good play back in the ball game, and they can't even do that. So that was pretty pathetic. All right, that's number 4, Drake May, worst offense ever.
Another one that's getting ripped is, I guess, everybody hated all of the commercials. And like, honestly, it does seem like we've now gotten to a period where people trying like creative or maybe even controversial things for the commercials is now over. Like, just people aren't going to do that anymore. We're not going to get another Terry Tate offensive office linebacker during any point during the Super Bowl. Budweiser is now freaked out because of the whole Bud Light thing a few years ago, so they're just doing like eagles and horses now. That's that, and Kurt Russell as our haggard old Olympic coach. Like, that's all Budweiser is touching. Is we're gonna have Kid Rock waving the flag for our commercial. Nothing's gonna get said. We're just gonna have Kid Rock come out and do some curling, so everybody knows we're pro America for the Olympics, and wave a flag for 60 seconds. But as always, one commercial managed to freaking stand out.
Yes,
and I really, at this point, am wondering what the hell is going on with Dunkin' Donuts. Like, you're a national chain.
What a surprise, though, that this would be focus.
Do you want nobody except Bostoners to use your product? You're like, if there's a Dunkin' Donuts in Ohio, go fuck yourself. We don't want anything to do with you non-Boston people. So we're just going to make everything about Boston. And we're going to present a very confusing image about Boston in the late 80s, early 90s with this commercial, because this is a commercial supposedly set in the early 90s, and Ben Affleck is working at a Dunkin' Donuts, and all his friends are black people. Yeah, that didn't happen. But if you wanted a real representation of South Boston in the early 90s, Mark Wahlberg would have come in and committed a hate crime against black people. Which, by the way, that's a fact. Look it up. Mark Wahlberg actually did commit a series of hate crimes in Boston in the late 80s, early 90s. Like, that would have been the real Dunkin' Donuts commercial. If you wanted it to be real, you've had Marky Mark come in and assault the black people with a baseball bat. That would have been actual Boston. And instead, you get Ben Affleck in a blonde wig hanging out with nothing but black people in a Dunkin' Donuts in Boston in the 90s. I'm saying that's not an accurate representation.
Possibly a bit of a stretch. Yeah, you're right.
Dunkin' Donuts. I feel like you have sanitized the image of Boston a little bit too much with these commercials. Along with again, we only want people from Boston to use our product, which honestly is fine because your coffee's not good and your donuts are terrible. As I have said many times, sub-level of Edmonds in the Publix aisle are better donuts than donuts. So I don't know what this commercial is. I guess, we're trying to encourage black people from Boston to eat at Dunkin' Donuts more.
Looks that way, yeah. I mean, specifically aimed at a very niche market. That's number 3. Number 2.
Number 2, and I have long felt this way about bets. Okay, that sometimes when you're gambling, when you're betting, Like, you are so absolutely correct about a bet that they should just pay you off at halftime. Like, they should just admit you had this one absolutely nailed, and you were so smart about this that regardless of what happens in the second half, I'm just going to pay you now. And honestly, they should, for the other side, they should be like, you know what? You just lose. You were wrong. No matter what happens in the second half of this game, we're not cashing these tickets. You lose. And that was exactly what this was for the under. Like, if you should have gotten paid at the end of the third quarter for the under here, but somehow, because Seattle went to a prevent with like 14 minutes left, it came down to this Kenneth Walker play, whether or not you were going to be an under. Now, again,
it got called back when they got called back.
It was a blatant hold, and it was the That was the whole reason the hole opened in the first place was because Spencer tackled the nose guard.
It was a penalty.
So it wasn't close, and really nobody who was holding an over ticket should have been bitching in the first place about this. But, man, like, if you were having an under and you actually had to sweat this
in
the last 3 minutes of the game, after you couldn't possibly have been more correct about the under in this, like, again, when Seattle was actually trying to play defense, there was no chance the Patriots were going to score.
They didn't move the ball at all.
But again, you were holding the under at 45.5, 46, whatever you got, and you actually had to sweat this stupid play for like 5 seconds when he broke through and it became clear he wasn't going to slide down. He was going to run for the end zone. Wow, man, that would have been one of the worst beats in the history. I would argue that
you're right. I mean, 12-0 in the fourth quarter.
They scored like 80 points in the fourth quarter.
I would argue, honestly, given the venue, given the Super Bowl, given everything, that if the ref had decided to swallow his flag,
no one would have said anything
on this play, it would have been the worst beat of all time. Like,
that's coming from you.
You could not be possibly more correct about a game and then have to sweat the last 5 minutes than you were if if you were holding it under.
Yeah, they started scoring.
Again, you were so correct. They should have paid you at the end of the third quarter.
Great point about that ball game. That there should have been any anxiety at all.
Exactly.
Players
couldn't get a first down.
And weirdly, I got to tell you, I knew like 5 people who had bet on MVP, including the great PC, who was holding a Kenneth Walker MVP ticket and was worried about it and freaked out when they called that playback because,
I would have solidified it. Yeah.
At the time, there were a couple defensive players who were in the mix. There were people holding the kicker at 250-1 who thought like this might be the time where the kicker got the MVP of the game. But, Walker would have locked it up with that touchdown. But when they called it back, it was still balls in the air on who was going to be the MVP.
Yep. Turned out to be a nice score. What were the odds on Walker? 5, 6,
6.5, I think.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. That takes us to the top of the list here.
Super Bowl. The one thing, man, as a diehard Patriots hater that drove me crazy is I kind of got to respect Jordan Hudson now.
There you go.
Like, I
made number 1. Wow.
This is elite level trolling right here. Like, this is above and beyond. Jordan Hudson on game day shows up wearing an Orchids of Asia Day Spa t-shirt while standing next to Bill Belichick at some I don't know whether this is a rally for the game. I think they were like walking with the students celebrating after the win.
The Duke game, right? The Duke game.
Yeah. Like, again, this is elite love. This is something I would be proud to hang on the big board. I didn't even know they sold these t-shirts because I would have bought one if they make them in my size. Like, I can't believe she came up with this. And, like, again, ultimate level of respect for Jordan Hudson on this one. Like, this is the thing within the Patriots organization and the coverage of the Patriots that nobody ever talks about. Like, again, the Tom Brady thing, they insulted his wife and his children and everything else. But the one thing you couldn't talk about was the fact that Bob Kraft is a sex offender during that whole roast thing. And Jordan Hudson's the one who's come out and totally unafraid to do this when, her whole thing with sex work is sort of questionable status-wise. Like, I gotta have some respect for one Jordan Hudson on this. Like, and the other thing is, like, this kind of seals that, like, there's gonna be no Bill Belichick Day at the stadium, right? There's not gonna be a statue. Like,
can you imagine what kind of color of red Kraft was seeing when this. I mean, it had to go viral if I caught it before. So, yeah, I mean, I knew this was in your wheelhouse, Professor.
Oh
And,
no! Again,
and
this
it's
is
something that's
elite level trolling.
amazingly, you talk about something that's been redacted. I mean, nobody ever mentions that.
Again, of all the Patriot stuff that's talked about, this is the one subject no one will. Again, when they kept Kraft out of the Hall of Fame, nobody came out and said,
Yeah, that Asian spot thing was a little curious. Exactly, yeah.
Kind of embarrassed the Shield because he's a giant pervert. Like nobody mentioned that.
Good to see you acknowledge this, Professor. I know that was a difficult thing for you to do to be.
A sentence I never in a million years thought I'd say is, I kind of respect Jordan Hudson now. I never in a million years would have thought that sentence was coming out of my mouth. But
I thought she was wearing that at the Super Bowl when I saw the thing.
No, it was at some rally in Chapel Hill. Again, I think they were celebrating.
You can see the Carolina shirts.
I think they were celebrating the win over.
Well, I didn't see the background, but until now.
But yeah, I mean, again, hats off. You got to give credit when it's due.
That's amazing.
This was an elite move.
I mean, that's Belichick, right? Like Belichick had her do that.
And look, she went all out because if you look, Belichick's wearing a sweater. Like the dude behind's got one of those Jim Tressel sweater vests. Like she had to be cold, right? Like everybody else is dressed up. She went out of her way to wear this freaking T-shirt and make sure it got noticed.
Good stuff, Professor, as always. Nice information on the Super Bowl. I don't think you'll find these takes anywhere else. 5 things that happened from the Super Bowl game. Always a pleasure, my friend. We'll see you in a few minutes. And thanks so much, as always, for being with us here on the show.
You guys have a great one.
Man, Ken, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's classic.
The Asian day spot thing. Imagine I just keep picturing like you're on a stakeout, like Nick Nolte would be in some cop movie. And you got the coffee and you got a couple of sandwiches with the wrappers up there on the dashboard, and you've been sitting in the car for 24 hours, and then all of a sudden you look out there and go, hey, look, isn't that the guy that owns the Patriots coming out of there?
Yeah. It never got, we talked about it a lot because it was funny. It would
happen right here in our backyard, and you're asking yourself.
Never got talked about.
How unfathomable is that? I mean, you talk about maybe the guy just wanted to be so far under the radar that he never thought anybody'd be watching.
Yeah, but he again it ended up being a criminal enterprise, and he was square in the middle of it, and he just sort of skated by. Like it was, the whole thing was freaking weird. And
the NFL have much to say about that.
If it was a player, they would have been. Look at what happened to Justin Tucker, and look what happened to Deshaun Watson. None of those were actual criminal like enterprise. They were things that were gross that we don't know, and I think they should have been investigated. This was a literal FBI sting that he was in the middle of, and it was all very gross, illegal stuff. And again, he's now was found in the Epstein files all over the place. Like, it's weird that didn't get a lot more exposure. Like it didn't.
Exposure being a key word. I mean, and the other thing that seemed unfathomable to me was here's a billionaire. He could have called in some night call girl from Las Vegas, flew her out on his private jet, which he was about to board to go to the game. That was
yes.
How do you go from that strip mall with the Asian spots to the airport there in Palm Beach? Fire up the private jet and fly the 3 hours or so to Boston. And then you're in the owner's suite of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise there, the New England Patriots. Unbelievable. And you just got, for lack of a better, I mean, we don't know that it had the so-called happy ending, but you're thinking you just got jerked off.
Yeah, we do know, actually. The FBI was very clear.
It's not only sleazy to begin with, but is under investigation for sex trafficking. Now, he may not have been aware of that. I would imagine that was probably the case. I don't know that he knew what was going on there.
I don't know. No, I don't know. But he was in the middle of it, and it was being looked into by the FBI.
You don't want to be in that spot. I mean, where two cops are on a stakeout looking at something complete. And the last thing,
he wasn't an informant. He was not. He was never discussed as a guy that blew the whistle. So talking about whistleblowing. So yes, it was weird that. Nothing happened with that at all.
I never mentioned it. It's never brought up. So, there you go. Jordan Hudson, man. Newfound respect for this woman.
No, that's classic. Ken earlier this week, I give him credit on his own volition, was like, this will definitely be a part of Friday.
Oh, okay.
I hate admitting this, but good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for her.
All right, Lubie, we'll see you later. And
sir.
thanks, everybody. We're going to do President's Day. You can make it on air. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah, we can. I mean, there's not really anything going on this weekend, so I don't mind not having.
Next time we take the day off, come back on Tuesday.
There's literally nothing. Like the All-Star game's not even fun anymore.
I'm going to make an executive decision right here on the show.
Yeah, it's fine.
All
And
right.
we respect our presidents
Yeah, very good.
in the past, at
We
least.
want to honor America by taking a day off.
Works for
All right,
me.
Louis, we'll see you later on. And everybody else out there, thanks. Professor, always a great job.
Yes, sir.
For everybody connected with the show, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:08.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.